Hello, and welcome to the course of Software Quality Standards, SQS. And this is session number 1. And in today's session, we are going to look at all the basic concepts, introduction to software quality standards. Software quality assurance, SQA, consists of the means to ensure the quality of the released software by monitoring the software engineering methods and processes. SQA spans across the entire software development lifecycle that includes requirements management, software design, coding, testing, and release management. SQA is an umbrella activity which is employed throughout the software lifecycle. Software quality assurance is very important for your software product or service to succeed in the market and survive up to the customer's expectations. There are various activities, standards, and techniques that you need to follow to assure that the deliverable software is of high quality and that aligns closely with the business needs or the customer needs. Software quality assurance is a set of rules for ensuring the quality of the software that will result in the quality of the software product. The software quality includes activities like process definition and implementation, auditing, and training. There are several processes in software development which makes or ensures the software quality, like software development methodology, project management, configuration management, requirements development or requirements management, estimations, software designs, testing, deployment. So all these processes, they take care of the software quality. Quality assurance identify weaknesses in the processes and correct those weaknesses to continually improve the process. ISO 9000 standard is based on 7 quality management principles, which help the organization to ensure that their product or service are aligned with the customer needs. So now we'll discuss these 7 quality management principles in short. The first quality management principle is customer focus. Meet and succeed customer expectations. As an organization, your success depends on customer satisfaction. Therefore, you need to understand current and future customer needs, meet customer requirements, and strive to exceed their expectations. Managing customer satisfaction is the key. The second quality management principle is leadership. Provide purpose, direction, and engagement. Your organization's leaders are the top level of management. They establish unity of purpose and direction of the organization. They should create and maintain the internal environment in which people can become fully involved in achieving the organization's objectives. To establish a great environment, you should build trust, equip, and empower employees. Recognize employee achievements and hard work and set challenging goals to keep employees motivated. The captain guides the ship, and likewise top management has a responsibility to embrace these principles and your quality management system. Specifically, the organization's leadership should hold management review meetings, MRMs, to keep the QMS, that is quality management system, and the organization running smoothly. The third quality management principle is engagement of people. Recognition, empowerment, and enhancement of skills and knowledge. People at all levels are the essence of the organization, and their full involvement enables their abilities to be used for the organization's benefit. ISO 9001 requires training to ensure employees have the tools they need to do their jobs and contribute to the success of your organizations. In order for people to support your quality initiatives, they must understand them. Additionally, you must create an environment where employees feel confident and comfortable asking questions, learning, and sharing the knowledge. The fourth management principle, quality management principle, is process approach. Understand processes to optimize the performance. A desired result is achieved more efficiently when activities and related resources are managed as a process. A process is a set of activities that use resources like people, machine, etc. to transform inputs into outputs. Every organization is made up of series of interacting processes. The fifth quality management principle is improvement, to maintain current performance and to create new opportunities. Continual improvement of the organization's overall performance should be a permanent objective of the organization. Top management should encourage their employees to make improvements and also measure improvement consistency. Auditing your QMS, the quality management system, and improving your processes is the key requirement of ISO 9001. You can define the audit frequency, but audits are compulsory part of your QMS. The sixth quality management principle is evidence-based decision making. Facts, evidences, and data analysis for decision making. Effective decisions are based on the analysis of data and information. When the data reveals that an area is underperforming, it is important to take corrective actions to improve the performance of that area. Root cause analysis, RCA, is a good way to determine the source of the problem for knowing what corrective actions should be taken. The seventh quality management principle is relationship management. Manage relationship with interested parties to optimize performance. The organization needs to identify and select suppliers and other interested parties that can manage costs, optimize resources, and create value. When you are establishing relationships, you want to collaborate to ensure that you focus on continual improvement. Your organization is unique, so there is not one right answer as to the application of these principles above. However, implementing ISO 9001 can help establish a solid basis for improved quality and customer satisfaction. CMMI stands for Capability Maturity Model Integration. This model was originated in software engineering. It can be employed to direct process improvement throughout a project, department, or entire organization. The maturity level or capability level of an organization provides a way to characterize its capability and performance. Experience has shown that organizations do their best when they focus their process improvement efforts on a prioritized and manageable number of practice areas at a time. Capability levels apply to an organization's performance and process improvement achievements in individual practice areas. Each level builds on the previous levels by adding new functionalities and the rigor in resulting in increased capability. So the zero level 0, capability level 0, which is known as incomplete, means incomplete approach to meeting the intent of the practice area. It may or may not be meeting the intent of any practice area. That means your organization may be giving inconsistent performance. The capability level 1 is named as initial. Initial approach to meeting the intent of the practice area, not a complete set of practices to meeting the full intent of the practice area. So you have just started following the process. It addresses performance issues. It will tell you where are the gaps. Capability level 2 is named as managed. So it is the next level to the level 1. Simple but complete set of practices that address the full intent of the practice area, does not require the use of the organizational assets, identifies and monitors progress towards project performance and objectives. So now we have defined the processes and now you are trying to manage those processes. Capability level 3 is defined. It builds on level 2 practices. It uses organizational standards and tailoring to address project and work characteristics. Projects use and contribute to organization assets. It focuses on achieving both project and organizational performance objectives. So these are the actually 3 levels of capability levels as per CMMI. Now TMMI, that is Test Maturity Model Integration. Based on CMMI, this model focuses on maturity levels in software quality management and testing. Maturity levels represent a staged path for an organization's performance and process improvement efforts based on predefined sets of practice areas. So the maturity level 0, which is named as incomplete, it is an ad hoc and unknown kind of process area. Work may or may not get completed if your organization is at maturity level 0. Maturity level 1 is named as initial, that means unpredictable and reactive. So work gets completed but is often delayed and over budget. So you complete the work as a reaction to some problem. Maturity level 2 is named as managed on the project level. So projects are planned, individual projects are planned, the performance is tracked, measured and controlled. But overall at organization level, this management is not happening. At maturity level 3, which is named as defined, it is proactive rather than reactive. So organization-wide standards provide guidance across projects, programs and portfolios. Maturity level 4, which is named as quantitatively managed, which is measured and controlled. So organization is data driven with quantitative performance improvement objectives that are predictable and aligned to meet the needs of internal and external stakeholders. The maturity level 5, which is named as optimizing, is stable and flexible. So organization is focused on continuous improvement and is built to pivot and respond to opportunity and change. The organization stability provides a platform for agility and innovation. Now we'll talk about SQA techniques. There are several techniques for SQA. Auditing is the chief technique that is widely adopted. Auditing involves inspection of the work products and its related information to determine if the set of standard processes were followed or not. Next is reviewing, a meeting in which the software product is examined by both the internal as well as external stakeholder to seek their comments and approval. So it's a kind of review process. Next is code inspection. It is the most formal kind of review that does static testing to find bugs and avoid defects in the latter stages. It is done by trained mediator or peer, and it is based on rules, checklist, entry and exit criteria, and lot of other documents. The reviewer should not be the author of the code. That is the main criteria for code inspection. Next is design inspection. Design inspection is done using a checklist that inspects the areas of software design like general requirements and design, functional and interface specifications, conventions, requirements traceability, structures and interfaces, logic, performance, error handling, recovery time, testability, extensibility, coupling and cohesion, and a lot of other things. Next SQA technique is simulation. Simulation is a tool that models the real-life situation in order to virtually examine the behavior of the system under study. The next is functional testing. It is a QA technique which verifies what the system does without considering how it does. So this type of black box testing mainly focuses on testing the system specifications or features. The next technique is standardization. It plays a crucial role in quality assurance. It decreases the ambiguity and guesswork, thus ensuring the quality. Next is static analysis. It is a software analysis that is done by an automated tool without actually executing the program. So this technique is highly used for quality assurance in medical, nuclear, and aviation softwares. Software metrics and reverse engineering are some popular forms of static analysis. Next technique is walkthroughs. Software walkthrough or code walkthrough is a kind of peer review where the developer guides the members of the development team to go through the product and raise queries, suggest alternatives, make comments regarding the possible errors, standard violations, or any other issues. That is a walkthrough. Next is path testing. It is a type of white box testing technique where the complete branch coverage is ensured by executing each independent path at least once. The next is stress testing. Now this type of testing is done to check how robust a system is by testing it under heavy load, that is beyond normal conditions. And the last is Six Sigma. So we'll talk about Six Sigma in more details on next slide. Six Sigma is a quality assurance approach that aims at nearly perfect products or services. It is widely applied to many fields including software. The main objective of Six Sigma is process improvement so that the produced software is 99.76% defect free. And there is a statistical base from where this number 99.76% is coming. So we'll talk about the concept of standard deviation also. Six Sigma at many organizations simply means a measure of quality that strives for near perfection. It can be called Six Sigma, or it may have a generic customized name for the organizations like operational excellence, zero defects, or customer perfection. But the base concept is Six Sigma. Six Sigma is a disciplined, data-driven approach and methodology for eliminating defects, driving towards 6 standard deviations between the mean and the nearest specification limit in any process, from manufacturing to transactional and from product to services. The statistical representation of Six Sigma describes quantitatively how a process is performing. To achieve Six Sigma statistically, a process must not produce more than 3.4 defects per million opportunities. That is the standard of Six Sigma. A Six Sigma defect is defined as anything outside of customer specifications. And that's why we say that Six Sigma is a quality assurance approach. So that is the end of first session, where we have discussed basic concepts and meaning of SQA, 7 principles of ISO 9000, which is the quality management system, capability maturity model integration levels, test maturity model integration levels, and different SQA techniques. As part of that, we have also seen some basic concepts of Six Sigma.